So just like my mug says, life is better with dogs. This is true. I'm going to try not to move that a lot because I realize this thing is actually really sensitive. Anywho, life is better with dogs, and I know that now more so than ever because we have a dog. I'll adjust this one second. Awesome. Okay, yes, we have a miniature dachshund / Pomeranian. She's like considered a weenie pom, or a Dameranian is the like actual term, but I'm calling her a weenie pom because I think that's cute, and she's very cute. Her name is Prudence because if you can't tell, I'm a huge Beatles fan, so shout out to the Beatles for the best. So yeah, that's why you're going to see a lot of dogs. I'll try to have her make a guest appearance in the podcast YouTube sphere. Puppies sleep a lot, so we're trying to make sure she gets a lot of sleep. So she's probably sleeping right now. Anywho, I'm up here drinking my coffee, and it's decaf, don't worry. And these, by the way, in case you are tuning in on the YouTube, these are blue light blocking glasses because after 9 p.m. I'm trying to wear them more frequently if I'm going to be on my phone or laptop or anything, even watching TV. Just do some laundry, put them on. I think I got these on Amazon for like $5 or $10. I like them. I think they're fantastic. They're comfortable. If I find the link, I'll put it in the description below. But yes, blue light can prevent your melatonin production. It can also make you feel more stimulated. Also, there are a lot of options you can do if you don't like the blue light glasses. I understand. You know, if you already wear glasses, it's kind of a pain in the butt to put them over that unless you have contacts or something. So there's a lot of applications, but there's one that I've been using called f.lux. I just call it Flux. I think it's a Google Chrome extension. You can actually download that and have it on your computer, and you can modulate it. So if it's early in the morning, you want a lot of blue light versus late at night, you don't, so you can change it. Or when I was in graduate school, sometimes I wanted to look or feel more awake, so I would modulate it and I would turn up the blue light a little bit at night. No, my sleep was not the best in graduate school, but I had to get things done. I had to grind through, which is kind of what we're going to be talking about today. And yeah, so I just wanted to preface with that. I don't have an affiliate code. I'm not affiliated really with anything except for Vertical Athletics headbands. I will put the link below for you. They're an athlete-based headband company, and they're fantastic. And I love them. I do wear them a lot, but right now I'm trying to have a decent hair day, right? So thank you again for tuning in. This is the 5th episode. Again, my name's Haley, Powerful Hippie on Instagram. Powerful Hippie, Hippie is exactly how it sounds. I'm uploading new episodes to YouTube every week at least, every maybe other week at the very least, or so at most and at least. And I do have a Spotify. If you are not on Spotify, I think there's even free versions of Spotify with ads. 20,000% recommend Spotify. Also, if you're a college student, you can get Spotify for a very discounted price, like $4.99 a month, unless they've upped it. And that usually includes like subscription to Hulu and like other things as well. So again, love Spotify. I haven't been on iTunes since like 2015. It's been a long time. So love Spotify. So again, thank you for joining today. We're getting into the tea. Oh, the tea. Or if you're like me, decaf coffee. About kind of like why I've decided to take a break into powerlifting and what I'm doing instead. Because I'm not one to plateau. So, you know, saying flat out, am I quitting powerlifting? That's something that we're going to get to. But in the past, you know, I've been here, if you will, really dedicating. I mean, like everybody that knows me, my friends, my family know the gym is, you know, such a huge part of my life. Working out, being fit. I love building muscle. There's just so many health benefits, mental, physical, even spiritual. I pray at the gym. I just feel so awake, alert. Even when I'm exhausted, I just feel myself. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's very spiritual for me, but fitness has become such an important part of my life. So I kind of wanted to bring you back, and I'm going to give you an answer at the end of the podcast. You do have to stick around. I'm so sorry. I'm so mean. But I am going to give you the answer if I am going to quit powerlifting, because there's multiple sides to that, just like everything in life. So I wanted to bring you back because I've, again, been in the fitness space. I'm a personal trainer, strength conditioning specialist, competitive powerlifter. I started the UNF Powerlifting Club. I was on the FSU weightlifting team in college. I've been in the fitness sphere for a long time. Actually, now that we're in 2025, I've been in it for over 10 years. I actually started in around 2013, 2014. And I started because I quit band. So I was in high school. My freshman, sophomore year, I was in drumline. And then my junior year, I decided to do dual enrollment because I was a junior in high school and I was like, man, I really need to focus on college. So I started doing dual enrollment, did not have time for band, and band was just not filling my cup. So it was very physical. I was in jazz band, I was in marching band, I was in advanced band. I was even in 0 period before class started band. Like I was in 8 classes my freshman, sophomore year. Like that's how dedicated I was to band. But once I realized that college was more important because I really wanted to get into Florida State University, my GPA was great, but I really needed to pass the ACT and like do well because I struggled with math heavily. It was not my favorite subject. But once I quit band, I did join the girls golf team. Shout out to Melbourne High School. And that was really fun. It was different, but it still wasn't very active. And I thought maybe I could get more into like the sport thing because I was never an athlete growing up. When I did the girls golf thing, that was the first time I'd ever done anything competitive. So I started doing P90X in my living room because my neighbor had the DVD set and let me borrow it and wanted me to try it out for her because I think she had like a couple kids, was looking for something that was doable, that wasn't going to be crazy or expensive. So, back in the day, P90X had the DVD sets, and I think there was like 9 or 10 different DVDs. So I started doing that in 2013, and I loved it. It was so hard. I even borrowed my dad's like build your own little dumbbells from the garage, right? Like that's what I did. And I did that in the living room for like a year or two. And then 2014 really started going into the gym, just occasionally with friends. But like when I went to the gym with friends, like I loved it. It was great. And I learned so much. I learned how to squat, learned how to bench press, deadlift. I really didn't do much bench pressing or deadlifting, but I did squat with the barbell a lot. And again, I just realized I loved the gym culture. I loved that I was new at something again, that I needed to become better at, that I could learn more. Didn't realize how much technicality and how much time it was going to take, but I also felt like naturally gravitated, kind of like music and art, because those are my other passions. But I felt naturally gravitated towards weightlifting and powerlifting especially. So in 2015, after I graduated high school, I got into Florida State and I started going into the gym more. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm really loving the gym thing. So I wanted to start bodybuilding. Didn't really know what I was doing. I was following some sort of program. It was probably one of Chris Gethin's like 8 weeks to shred, like online YouTube video programs. And don't get me wrong, those are hard, but I wasn't following a specific diet plan. But once I started following like that plan, I really loved bodybuilding. I loved seeing the muscles developing. And back in the day, too, a lot of my friends who were really into fitness, they weren't powerlifting. They were bodybuilders. They didn't compete in anything else. They didn't do strongman or any other competitive sport. They were bodybuilders. And that was super big at FSU and Gold's Gym and like that era. And like so many people that I knew, that was what they did. And it was cool. So in 2016, I was like, all right, I want to try it, right? I love working out. I want to do it. So I actually hired a coach and I wanted to be serious about it. So it's 2016. So I was like 20 years old, 21 age-ish. And I loved it at first. I had a coach and my coach, was great and gave me, the weekly workout plans, the meal plans. We would do check-ins, and I even I even bought a bikini figure, or not bikini, but like a bikini, but for figure competitors, because I wanted to compete in figure, which I did not have enough muscle mass at that time. I should have stuck with bikini. But anyway, yeah, so I was gonna do figure. I did everything. I was so lean. I didn't get my body fat percentage done when I quit, because I did eventually quit, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But I was really lean. I was probably sitting at between 10 and 13% body fat. Probably that lean. I had a visual six pack. I was lean, but I was also doing so much cardio, following the diet plan, the workout plan. I was working on at least 5 or 6 days a week. I think 6 days a week, which is a lot on your body, especially when you're in a serious caloric deficit. And I was in a serious caloric deficit, by the way, not just for a few months. I'm talking almost 6 months I was doing bodybuilding. So over 4 months comes around, and I have a coach. I'm doing all the things that you're supposed to do, and then all of a sudden I plateau. I'm so tired. I can't sleep. I'm a natural athlete too. I've never touched PEDs, aka performance enhancing drugs, steroids, okay, drugs. I've never done that. I don't want to do that. That's a whole other conversation for another day, right? But I plateaued, and I was, again, having so many side effects from just being in a caloric deficit for too long. And also, side note, I was on a mono diet. I mean, he didn't change, my coach didn't change my diet much. He didn't change the type of foods that I was eating. So I was eating the same foods pretty much all the time, just changing the amount. And so it was just the perfect storm. All right. That was just the perfect storm for me to give up. I eventually had to give up. And it was just because I realized I was having health issues. So at that point, I got blood work done. I saw different doctors. I even saw the hormone doctor, and I was really what's wrong with me? So I went to so many different doctors, endocrinologists. Sorry, couldn't think of the term for a second. But I went to an endocrinologist, and I had high testosterone, had high cortisol, which are your stress hormone. I had low estrogen, low progesterone, and I was also on the birth control pill. And what that does is it depletes your body of natural B vitamins. I wasn't supplementing. I don't think I was taking a multivitamin. I don't really know. I can't remember that far long ago. But I was diagnosed with birth control illness, and it was awful. I had to get off the pill, and I had to go see different doctors. I ended up finding an awesome holistic doctor in Tallahassee that listened to me. I did blood work. I did the food androgen test, which shows if you have sensitivities to certain foods. I don't know if insurance covers the food androgen test, but if you have a lot of gastrointestinal issues, for me, it was I was bloated, I was constipated, it was awful. And that was a side effect of birth control. But it was also a side effect of issue that I was having with my diet. The mono diet made me have a harder time digesting certain things, because I was eating a lot of eggs, chicken, almonds, whey protein. So my markers for those on the food androgen test were really high, meaning that I just was not digesting those very well, and they were becoming almost toxic to me too. And so I had to slowly get those out of my diet and then start integrating everything. But it literally took me so much time to figure that out. I had to get off the birth control pill, get on other options, hormone free. There's tons of options, but I chose the copper IUD. That worked for me for 9 years, and I got it out because, it only lasts 10 years. So again, do your research with birth control. That's a whole other topic, and I'm not a doctor. But when I did see my doctor, I asked all the questions about hormones, right? So she was like, let's, look at different supplements. So I did start taking a multivitamin, fish oil, vitamin D, other things that I was deficient in. Magnesium is a big one too. And creatine is what she also recommended. So I started taking creatine then, and I was feeling better. I was feeling so much better. My digestive system was great again. I had zero acne. I was getting stress acne on my jawline because that's a high marker of high cortisol, by the way. And so I was finally feeling better, and I was in college. I was starting graduate school in 2017. So I was stressed. I mean, I was writing papers, doing research. I was also working a part-time job at Vitamin Shop. I wanted to learn more without having to go to medical school because I didn't want to have to go through that process. I had a lot of friends that went through medical school and it just did not seem like a great option for me. But after 2016 is when I got really, I got better as far as health wise. And I pushed bodybuilding aside, didn't quit going to the gym, but I just didn't know what to do. Ironically, everything happens for a reason, I guess, because I was in a Spanish class and my friend was the FSU weightlifting and powerlifting club president. And she was like, hey, you like to lift weights, you should join the powerlifting club. So I did. And in 2017, I got introduced to powerlifting and joined the FSU weightlifting and powerlifting club and learned all the movements, squat, bench, deadlift, learned how to do them better, learned different accessories, learned all about following periodization for a program to get stronger specifically. Just followed along and joined the camaraderie at FSU, and it was a great experience. It was a great club. It was super fun. I loved powerlifting, and I still do. Right? I'm not trying to trick you. I'm not anti powerlifting, but there's pros and cons. We're going to talk about that. So in 2018, I had competed once or twice by then. I was a part-time manager at Vitamin Shop, and I got more serious into it, and I started learning about how can I improve my bench press, because that was my favorite lift, because most women just don't have big bench presses. They don't train upper body as hard as lower body. And now they are. And I'm proud of that because I train upper body 3 times a week. I only train lower body twice a week. So upper body for me is, again, my shtick. It's my favorite thing. And I think that if more women realized how important it is, especially as you get older and you age, for your bone density, for your just keeping your muscle mass, you need to train upper body at least once or twice a week. So please don't skip that. That's just a side note. I don't want osteoporosis. That's scary. That scares me. So I'm doing everything that I can right now. I know I'm the young age of 29, but I'm going to be 30 this year. So I'm and everyone's going to be like, oh, you're so young. I know I'm not older per se. Age is just a number, by the way. I don't feel 29. I feel better now than I did when I was 19 because I got my hormones fixed and it really helped me out. But by 2018, I was getting into powerlifting. 2019, I competed, and I graduated with my master's degree, and I did a deadlift competition and stuff. And that's when I met my husband, actually, at a deadlifting competition. That was fun. Shout out to Capital City Barbell. In 2019, I graduated with my master's degree. I started teaching right after I graduated with my master's degree. I taught high school for a year, and that was the year the pandemic hit, and my powerlifting career just went because the gyms were closed for 2 months. You don't even want to know what my husband and I did. We bought a squat rack. We did everything in our garage, but I hate working out from home, powerlifting wise. I just can't do it. It's just not a vibe, especially in Florida because it's so hot and humid and miserable 80% of the year. It's just awful. So 2019, 2020, I did what I could to stay healthy. I went on walks. I tried to do the garage gym thing. I took a step back from powerlifting though, because that just was a hard year. It was just hard. The world was weird. It was the first year I taught teaching by myself. It was weird. So after that, we moved to Jacksonville. I just wanted to get closer to family and stuff. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start competing again. So I started competing in 2021. I competed at a local competition and I totaled over 800 pounds, and that was great for me. I was 830, I think. At that point, it had been almost 2 years since I competed. And then I got my personal training certification and I was getting really back into it. I loved it. And so when 2022 rolled around, I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to compete in a national competition. So I qualified for USPA drug tested raw nationals, and I competed in Atlanta, and I totaled 904-ish. I don't remember my dot score. I'd have to look it up on Open Powerlifting, which, by the way, if you do, it's Haley Sanders. I have to change my name. I don't even know how to do that. Honestly, I've forgotten about that until now. But I am on Open Powerlifting, the website, if you wanted to look at my totals and stuff. Some of those I've competed, but it wasn't on record, by the way, because it was just a local deadlift competition or bench press competition. But I loved competing at nationals, raw nationals. That was fun. I think I would compete again nationally. You do have to qualify, but if I do, I'm going to definitely go for the 1,000 pound total or higher because like I have it in me. I just got to do it. And then in 2022, I was working at UNF, and so I had some friends who were like, "Hey, you should start a powerlifting club." And then there's some students that were like, "Yeah, you should really start a powerlifting club because UNF didn't have it." So I worked with them to do that. And then 2023, I got my strength conditioning coach certification. 2024, this past year, I finished my second master's degree, and I have free programs too. And I was personal training in between that time period too. I had some clients on the side. I personal trained at a gym in St. John's. It's now rebranded, but they used to be called River City Personal Fitness. I forget what their new name is. And anyway, that's the timeline of my fitness journey. There's never been a year that I haven't really done fitness. Yes, I've taken time off powerlifting, as one should, honestly, for your mental and physical health. Unless it's your job, unless you have to be a competitive powerlifter all the time, take some time off. Do other things. Be interesting. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be the person in the room that says you should only be good at one thing. I hate that. I think it's just putting yourself in a box because God forbid you get injured or you get really sick or something like that, or you just hate powerlifting, had bad experience. Now what? You don't have anything else to do with your life? Absolutely not. So again, I was flirting this past year with bodybuilding. I was finishing my second master's degree. So I was like, you know what? I need to finish this strongly. I don't want my grades to slip. I'm proud to say, knock on wood, I just knocked on wood. I had like a 3.85 GPA. I only got 2 Bs, and they were B pluses, and they were both 89s because we won't talk about that, but I don't care. Anyway, but I was like, you know what? Let me just do one thing at a time. I'm already kind of stressed because graduate school is stressful. So let me just do graduate school and finish that strongly. Just keep my fitness up. I don't want to lock myself into powerlifting, competing again, because again, I go crazy. Like that's what I do. If I'm going to compete, I'm going to compete. I'm not just going to show up to the competition and be like, all right, let's see what happens. Like, no, I'm going to have everything down to a wire. Like I'm going to have 3 different openers, second attempts, third attempts. Like I'm that kind of person where I'm a little bit, over the top because I just don't want to fail. And I feel like if you don't prepare, you will fail. So I'm over prepared for that kind of stuff. Anyway, but yeah, I was flirting with bodybuilding last year just because I didn't have the time for powerlifting. So powerlifting movements are squat, bench, deadlift, and you want to do them at least once a week if you are in a competition prep mode because you need to build your strength and endurance. And every coach is different, but for me, I think if you take a week or 2 off of the big movements, you're not going to be training them. Your body is going to be a little bit not used to the movements as much. Now, you can take time off for sure, but if you are following a program, you need to make sure that you are at least doing some form of the movement every week. Maybe it's not your squatting, like back squat, maybe you're front squatting, maybe you're doing heavy static holds, maybe you're doing like hack squat. But long story short, when I do powerlifting, I go hard at it. Same thing with like bodybuilding. Like I went so hard that I almost crashed out hormonally. I didn't know any better. But I love powerlifting. I love it so much, but it just takes too much energy right now. And this past year, I've been following some different bodybuilding programs. I did one Chris Gethin program and other programs I found online. But now I'm just kind of formulating my own. And this is, kind of a soft launch. I'm going to be coming out with a bodybuilding program probably before August, maybe by August, maybe September at the latest. Again, I'm the kind of person I want to do it right. It's going to be like a 4-month program because bodybuilding takes a long time. You're bodybuilding. You're building your muscles. You want to look a certain way aesthetically. So again, I'm gonna continue to close to go back to where I was. But progress is not linear, and I just fell out of love with powerlifting because of how much time it takes away from your life sometimes. And it doesn't have to, right? You can sprinkle it in. Maybe it's just because I've gotten older. I don't know. But for me too, there's not like I couldn't. Someone asked me in the last couple months, do you think you've gone as far as you can with powerlifting? And I said no, because I could always go farther. I could always push myself farther. But again, I'm a natural athlete. Like, I'm drug tested. I've never touched a banned substance in my life. Never want to, because there's repercussions for everything. And the side effects from doing PEDs is just too extreme for my opinion. But I really kind of fell back in love with training for bodybuilding. And so 3 months ago, I set out a goal for myself, because, you know, me, once I graduate from one thing, literally, I wanted to try something else. So once I graduated from my master's degree, I was like, all right, let's just try something new. I like to put big goals out there. I don't even like do New Year's resolutions. I do whatever I feel, but I always accomplish them. And I said, all right, I'm just going to do a slight caloric deficit. So I started at 2,000 calories, did that for a month. Then I went to 1,900 calories, did that for a month. Now I'm at 1,850. And I don't remember the exact weight I started at. I think I was like 157, but now I'm 148, 149. So, you know, that's a significant weight cut. And when I powerlifted, by the way, I competed in 165, which is 75 kilograms. I think it's like 165.3 or something like that. But that's 75 kilograms. So if I go back to competing in powerlifting, I'm not going to be in the same weight class. I have to look at the weight classes, but I think it's like 65, 62.5, something like that. They changed them. I think it's like 60 and 65 now, which is great, because we needed more weight classes for women anyway. So now that I am where I am in life, finished master's degree, you know, I'm just kind of chilling, but I want to push myself. I feel like it's good to push your body sometimes when you can, when you want to. And I do want to. I don't feel like I can't. But powerlifting is a different kind of pushing your body. All right. You are in the gym for sometimes 2 to 3 hours, because I don't neglect my accessory exercises, and it's just so time consuming. And again, you need a lot of energy. So I was pretty much always in a caloric surplus with powerlifting. It's hard to feel super energized when you're in a caloric deficit with powerlifting, because you're just not giving your body enough maintenance calories. Like, that's it. You're expending more energy than you're keeping. So your body's like fight or flight. And that's kind of what got to me. With bodybuilding, though, it's not as time consuming. I can get in and out of the gym within an hour and 15 minutes. That's amazing, especially when you're busy and you're working a full-time job, or you have a puppy who needs more attention than you'd think. That's going to be a whole podcast episode, but give me another couple of weeks, because I'm still a new puppy mom. So I started flirting with bodybuilding. I like the idea of cutting calories a little bit, and I just want to see what my body can do right now. I feel great. That's the other thing. When I last did powerlifting, I did not feel great. I overdid it a little bit. When I did bodybuilding almost 10 years ago, I did not feel great. I overdid it. So now this time, if I do compete in bodybuilding, which I don't have a show lined up, I don't know about that. I just want to look and feel as best as I can right now. Be strong in the gym, feel great in a bikini, you know, just feel healthy, have great blood sugar levels, lower cortisol, you know, lose a few body fat percentage if I can, in a healthy way, so that it doesn't mess up with my normal menstrual cycle, because that's a side effect of bodybuilding or taking anything to the next level fitness wise, right? Again, throwing your body out of homeostasis, and that's not what my goal is. I want to stay in homeostasis. I want to be healthy and I want to be happy, but I know I can do that in a slight caloric deficit, not surplus, deficit, which means I'm honestly burning more calories than I'm consuming, and that's fine. It feels great. The reason that I got into bodybuilding again, not only do I like a challenge, but because after just a few months, I saw a dramatic change. And not that that's an addictive thing, but it's really pleasing when you know you're working hard and you're seeing results and you're feeling results. Like, I had family members even say, hey, have you lost weight? And not in a bad way, like, oh, you look sick or whatever. Like, hey, you look like you've been working hard. And I have been. I've been doing cardio almost every single day. I've been tracking my calories. I've been making sure I've been eating a lot of protein, which really helps me take all my supplements. You know, I've been working hard, and it pays off. It always shows, because I haven't been below 150 in like 3 years, which is a big deal, because I put on a lot of muscle. I've worked really hard. I don't even know what my body fat percentage, my muscle mass, anything was before I got into my health and fitness journey. I wish I had that information to compare it to where I am now, because I've been putting in the work, and for almost 5 years I've been eating in a caloric surplus, and still going to the gym 4 more times a week. So I've been putting in the work. But now I'm going to the gym 5 times a week, and I'm doing a chest and triceps day. I'm doing a quad focused leg day with calves mixed in, a back and bicep day, a shoulder tricep day, and then a glute hamstring focused day. And I mix in cardio in between. And you know what? It's been amazing. I feel amazing. I've been having great workouts. I'm happier. I'm satiated. I don't feel like I have to do anything. And the other thing about bodybuilding that I like is you can actually really take it slowly. Same with powerlifting. But if you compete in either one, that's always going to be in the back of your head. Like, I have to be here, I have to be here, I have to be here. And that's so stressful for me because, again, I'm a mental lifter. So if I lift, I want it to be the best. But if I'm having a bad day, if I didn't eat enough calories, if I didn't have enough water, if I had something going on that day in my personal life, like, that affects my lifting. I'm a mental lifter. I'm an emotional lifter. And music helps me get out of that headspace. More than anything, sometimes you just have to do what makes you feel happy again so you can fall back in love with something. Because when I was doing powerlifting, I fell out of love with it a little bit at the end just because it got to be like all consuming. And that's how bodybuilding can be. I know. You can't eat out, you can't do alcohol. Like, you really shouldn't. If you try to fit it, if you can fit it in your macros. But, like, again, it's going to take away from your progress. And why would you want to do that? So it's harder because you have to just be like, this is my life now for a while until I change it. But I'm trying to come up with a plan that you can do, like a healthy, holistic approach to bodybuilding, to power building, where you can still be strong, still hit the powerlifting movements, but more than anything for your physique so that you can build your muscle and you can look and feel the best you can feel. That's what I'm working on right now. That's my sneaky little secret. So I just wanted to remind you, no matter where you are in your health and fitness journey, it's a journey. All right, it's a journey. Like, I've been here for almost 12 years. I'm still like, all right, what am I doing? I know stuff about everything. I haven't done Olympic weightlifting and I haven't done strongman. That's like the one thing I've never touched, but I might try that one day just for funsies. But I just want to remind you, just start, okay? Because since progress is never linear, and life happens, just start. What's the shame? You don't have to go to the gym either. Start with P90X. That was like my gateway drug to the gym, and now here I am, competed at nationals, done all these things in fitness. I have certifications, and I maybe might do bodybuilding, and I don't know if I'm going to have a goal to compete like at the national level, whatever. That would be cool, but I'm not going to overwhelm myself. Again, as a natural athlete, you got to make sure that your health is in check, or else you'll get burnt out fast, super fast. Again, I don't want to do PEDs. The side effects are just too not for me, especially if I want to have kids one day. And I don't know. But, control what you can. Give yourself grace. Don't give up on your goals, but keep making goals. Even once you've, reached the top. Maybe you've done bodybuilding for 5 years. And you're like, all right, let's try powerlifting. I love that. Try something new. And then reach your ceiling. If you get burnt out, that might be a good indication that you've reached your ceiling for now. And I'm not saying I'm going to be not coming back to powerlifting because I'm still doing the movements pretty much every other week. I squatted and I benched this week. I haven't deadlifted yet. I might deadlift tomorrow, or I might do a variation like Romanian deadlift or rack pull, something like that, or off the blocks. I don't want to lose my technicality because I work so hard on all of my lifts. Which can happen because if you don't deadlift for a while, sometimes your body's like, all right, what am I doing here? Your brain forgets. So I'm not quitting powerlifting, but I'm taking a decent break from it right now. Probably at least a year. All right. And that's just to say, I want to try bodybuilding. I don't know if I'm going to compete in bodybuilding, but I just want to follow longer than just 2 or 3 months. I want to try for at least 6 months, see how I feel. If at that point it's too much, then I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, I might just tailor it back, might go back to powerlifting, or just enjoy life and health and fitness and balance. Maybe I'll increase my yoga. Again, everybody has something you can work on. Everybody has something that you can work on. Even if you've been doing it for more than 10 years, you are not perfect. Maybe you need to work on your diet. Maybe your sleep. Maybe your stretching, your flexibility, your mobility, your joint health. There's always something you can work on. always. And that's the thing. So no, I'm not quitting powerlifting forever. I might go back to it. But for right now, I'm not going to be competing in powerlifting this year. If I do bodybuilding, it won't be even until the end of this year, October through November, December, if I do. But probably not. I don't know. I just want to see where I end up. So again, that's where I am in life. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming along on today's journey, this podcast. Next podcast, it's going to be a little bit different than just health and fitness, but it's going to be something that plays into your life and really important, in my opinion. And if you do have questions or you want to be on this podcast, as always, just send me a direct message on Instagram at Powerful Hippie. I check my messages every single day. And if for some reason you're not getting through, because maybe we don't follow each other or something like that, I do have an email. It's just haley.powerfulhippie@gmail.com. So you can always email any questions there. And I will check that email as well too. So thank you again for listening on Spotify, watching on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, and follow. It really supports me because this is new for me and I really need your love. But again, just last closing before we go, stay strong and know that no matter what, you are powerful. And I'm really proud of you. Thank you so much, y'all. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.